Meeting is called to order. Everybody's already in their seats. Thank you. Would you join me with the Pledge of Allegiance, please? Thank you, Sam. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call.
Laura Belsky. Here. Andy Berg.
Here.
Sandra Beth. Here. David Celebry.
Here.
Aaron Decker. Here. John Franco.
Here.
Boyd Frederick.
Here.
Ron Frederick.
Here.
Daniel Gashke.
Here.
Jeff Gens.
Here.
William Grady.
Here.
Jerry Gully.
Here.
Edward Kubicki.
Here.
Amy Maurer. Here. Mark Nordigan.
Here.
Gabe Nudo.
Here.
John O'Day.
Here.
Sharon Palmaville. Zach Rodriguez.
Here.
Terry Rose.
Here.
Jeff Wambolt.
Here.
Lon Winkie.
Here.
Monica Uhas. Here.
Thank you. We will now go to the State of the Union of Kenosha County by Jim Cruiser, County Executive. I'll take a second for Sean to set it up.
Good evening, Chairman O'Day, Vice Chair Uhas, ladies and gentlemen of the County Board, elected officials, county employees, and citizens of Kenosha County. The state of Kenosha County is amazing. Amazing frontline professionals of nurses, doctors, protective services personnel, dispatchers, jailers. It's truly amazing, as in as many ways as there are people. From teachers instructing from home, to sewers. Oh my gosh, the masks that are being sewed without knowing who will get them, but just because the need is here, now and very possibly into the future. The goodness in our community is simply amazing. But we all knew it. But now we see it every day, or hear about it from the WebEx and Zoom meetings, the many conference calls. We become aware of the internal champions that are in our community and are assisting others to get through this. And get through it we will. Many amazing people work for Kenosha County as their choice because we want to make a difference, making this community better every day, even when challenges lie before us. The state of Kenosha County is also resilient and strong. This isn't the first time our resilience, perseverance, and grit has been tested. It's why we, the County Board and the administration, work together to make decisions that will make our local economy robust and sustainable for the long haul. I know there is fear, frustration, and sadness during this pandemic. People are concerned about job losses, about businesses closing permanently, and there is anxiety about their health and that of those who they love with the spread of COVID-19. Kenosha County residents have done an outstanding job of flattening the curve. Our hospital systems have been able to keep up. Our county reacted quickly, and our residents took this pandemic seriously. Groups like Kenosha Cares, which Supervisor Andy Berg participates in, have come together to create and supply much-needed masks for our frontline emergency workers, first responders, law enforcement, and healthcare workers. People have stepped up when emergency supplies at food pantries have been in need. Kenosha County is the biggest small town in the Midwest, and we take care about each other and take care of each other. Thank you to all of those who have helped others during this pandemic. Yes, our mettle is being tested again, and again we are rising to the occasion. In what is still recent memory for most of us here, the Chrysler assembly plant shut down in 1988. I was working in the county executive's office then with County Executive John Collins when We came together as a community to rebuild after the loss of automaking. When I came into office in June of 2008, we were just entering the Great Recession. It was followed by the fatal blow to Kenosha's auto industry with the closing of the engine plant in 2010. We've shown our ability to come together as a community to overcome economic crisis, and we will do that again. I am confident we will succeed. Because of the things we put into place, because of the investments we've made in our county, we are going to be in a stronger position coming out of this crisis. In 2008, the Kenosha Area Business Alliance put together a list of the county's major employers. That list had 23 names on it. The 2019 version of that list has 48 names on it. It is the county's investment in infrastructure, Highway 165 back in 1988, County Highway N in 2008, and now the completion of I-94, and now the widening of County Trunk S, State Highway 50 to 6 lanes, and the fact that we worked with CABA to develop the High Impact Fund, and we have assisted in creating and making a lot of shovel-ready, developable land available that will buoy us rebound in Kenosha County. Kenosha County's economic kickstart is being facilitated by a group of local government and business leaders from across the county. And I, along with the mayor and the Kenosha Area Business Alliance, brought them together. Thank you to Supervisor Amy Maurer for participating with CABA in the Kenosha County Kickstart Oversight Committee. With guidance from Dr. Jen Freiheit and the state and federal health standards, business standards from groups such as MMAC and WEDC, the Kenosha County Kickstart Plan is a framework, a living document, and a process that's workable and reasonable so that businesses, schools, and government can reopen safely. I urge you to read the living document on Kenosha County COVID-19 dashboard located on our website at kenoshacounty.org. I want to take a moment to recognize the great work being done by our Kenosha County Division of Health under the leadership of Dr. Jennifer Freiheit. Health has been the epicenter of this community health emergency, and we're lucky that Dr. Freiheit came to us when she did. With her many years of public health experience, particularly in the area of pandemics and public health crises, her guidance has been extremely valuable. I commend the hard work of the health department employees who are putting in long hours, working nights and weekends to help the public and stay on top of the progression of COVID-19 in our county. Thank you. All of our county employees really have stepped up to the plate when we had to quickly close our buildings and transition as many employees from work to working from home. First, we drew upon the strong planning by departments and divisions to make sure we had plans in place for continuity of operations and continuity of governance. Information technology, under the guidance of Marty Laycock, who is retiring in July, quickly deployed dozens of computers and made the necessary changes to systems so that more than 25% of our workforce could do their work from their homes. I want to thank Marty for all you have done to dramatically raise the professionalism and safety of our system since joining the county from the private sector in 2009. Thank you, Marty, and congratulations on your retirement. Many thanks to all county employees who either made quick transitions to working at home or had to augment their typical daily protocols to do their jobs more safely. Thank you to the social workers still keeping children and families safe, and those social workers who are still going into homes when needed. to the Aging and Disability Resource Center for finding ways to continue to help seniors, including home grocery delivery. Thank you to the Sheriff's Department, from the corrections to patrol officers to supervisors, for keeping our community safe in so many ways. Thank you to our parks employees for keeping the parks open through this so that people could get fresh air and exercise when they were really cooped up. During this record-setting time of our park utilization, it has never been so important to have quality outdoor space for our citizens to be able to walk, run, ride, walker, and wheelchair through our park system. And we have drawn down millions of dollars from outside sources to widen roads, pave, or create multi-use paths which are embraced by most segments of our community. The vision of our multi-jurisdictional trail committee has taken visible shape, with the trail going from downtown to Carthage College to UW Parkside and Gateway Technical College to Petrifying Springs and over the majestic bridge to County Trunk KR, and soon will traverse all the way to the western frontage road of I-94. And going south, Pleasant Prairie is planning on connecting the 30th Avenue multi-use trail to County Trunk H, where bike lanes already exist from Highway 50 south to the state line and legs off through Lake Andrea, and then to Bain Station Road, and now to County Trunk Highway C, and now we're able to ride over the Des Plaines River on C all the way to the west frontage road of I-94, or bike back to Lake Andrea via the Hackbarth Trail. In a rapidly growing area like Kenosha County, this is a big deal on the north and south sides of our county. I thank most of you for your strong support and vision of what our community should be like. Thank you to the highway workers who changed how they worked so they could remain safe with their colleagues and make sure they're safe while still doing the needed road work. Thank you to the child support workers who are still doing what they can to get support to families. Thank you to Brookside Care Center staff and Willowbrook Assisted Living Center for giving that extra care while families cannot come to visit the facilities to visit their loved one. We have spectacular employees in Kenosha County, and they shine even more when faced with adversity. We applaud all of you. As for Kenosha County's financial position, you had learned from Finance Director Patricia Merrill that we will likely see an overall reduction of sales tax and other revenues as the result of the COVID-19 impact. We recently learned from Governor Tony Evers that Kenosha County will receive $2.7 million in CARES Act funding to help us absorb those virus-related costs, from protective equipment to overtime to cleaning supplies. Thank you, Governor Evers. We went from a record-breaking high in monthly collections of sales tax in January and February of this year to our lowest collection since March of 2017 in this March 2020. We've experienced cost increases as a result as the need to buy specific cleaning supplies, along with new long-term unfunded mandates by the state, and obviously to fund necessary overtime in health and law enforcement. Those are just to name a few examples. We are still in the thick of it, doing continuous analysis of the full impact of COVID-19 on our expenses, and we will continue to monitor it very closely and be reporting to the Finance Committee. And all that being said, we continue to be well positioned as our county because our fiscally sound decisions over the past years. But let's not kid ourselves. The 2021 budget will be tight, but I will deliver a budget to you in October, again, not exceeding 3%. You will all recall that our recent taxable refunding bond issues came in at nearly historic lows, resulting in a savings of approximately $522,000. In its rating of this latest bond issue, Standard & Poor's maintained a AA+ rating and stable outlook, while noting its recognition of the impact of COVID-19 in Kenosha County. It also reflected its view of the county's strong economy, strong management with good financial policies, and very strong budgetary flexibility with an available fund balance of 29% of operating expenditures and very strong liquidity. Fitch also maintained its AA+ rating of Kenosha County and said our operating performance is AAA. The county's operating performance was strong during the decade-long expansion leading up to the coronavirus outbreak in March of 2020. Kenosha County's ample financial resilience is derived from its broad revenue-raising flexibility, solid control over employee salary and benefit costs, and substantial fund balances. The county steadily built up its general fund reserves during the economic recovery lasting from mid-2009 through Q1 of 2020. Again, those affirmations of how important it's been for the administration and the county board to work together on sound fiscal policies that serve our taxpayers for the long term. The county has been proactive in positioning itself to be prepared for unforeseen circumstances since the Great Recession of 2008. Going into 2008 recession, the county's unassigned general fund reserve totaled $8.2 million, 14.4% of the general fund expenditures. That was $1.5 million, 2.6% below our policy minimum of 17%. Going into this economic downturn, the county is closing 2019 with unassigned general fund reserves totaling $19.8 million, 28.7% of the general fund expenditures. This is $8.1 million, 11.7% above the policy minimum of 17%, and in line with us trying to achieve a AAA status. Our long-term obligations, which includes general obligation debt, OPEB for health and life insurance, and vacation and casual accrual, is $39 million less today in 2020 than it was in 2008. 2008 total was $216.8 million, and 2019 total is $177.4 million. Both rating agencies like that. Due to our solid AA+ credit rating, the county has secured very low interest rates on its bond and note issues over the past several years. 2020 refunding issues, tax-exempt issues, 1.46%. 2019 debt issues, bonds at 2.02%, notes at 1.46%, a record low. 2018 debt issues, notes 2.5. 2017 debt issues, 2.7, notes 1.8%. The county has worked to build cash reserves, borrowed at low interest rate, and is well positioned to absorb additional expenses, cushion revenue declines, absorb tax delinquencies, and ensure all expenditures are paid on time. In addition, our tax delinquencies were at record lows coming into this economic downturn. At the close of 2007, our tax delinquencies were rising. At the close of 2019, our tax delinquencies had been declining for 3 years to a record low. In addition, we now have tools in place to manage an influx of tax delinquency if that occurs, and better control the collection process moving forward. We will come back economically. We have tremendous infrastructure in place, and we're continuing to build it out further to attract and retain businesses and to keep our protective services and citizens safe on our roads. We have and we will continue to make available developable land ready to keep our economy moving forward and to create lots of rooftops for people to work under and to give our young people an opportunity to work right here in Kenosha County. And tonight, I also want to address the recent events occurring around the globe. I love Kenosha County. I believe this is a great place to live, work, play, and raise a family. And that this is a place where we help and support our neighbors. But we must face the truth that we need to do better. However, because not everyone in our community is supported, feeling welcome, or safe. As Adeline Green, the county's retired workforce development director, so succinctly put it in the recent Kenosha News editorial, we must face the pandemic of racism in our county, our country, and our world. The murder of George Floyd in Minneapolis has understandably ignited protests as a result of frustration and anger because so little has changed for so long for people of color. In our own community, my heart breaks at hearing the story of Gus Harris, a black man who no longer feels safe exercising at Petrifying Springs Park. A woman called 911 after seeing Mr. Harris, a downtown business owner, in the park because of the color of his skin. Adeline Green has been part of a number of organizations that have been bringing people together for years. The Coalition for Dismantling Racism and the Courageous Community Conversations. It has to be exhausting to have these conversations and feel like no one is listening. Although society has made progress, we, as a community, still have a lot more work to do. Together, we need to work on better benchmarks and outcomes with an ongoing annual review. It is well past time that we not only listen, but we actually hear, empathize, ask questions, understand, and take action. While recognizing there are many things that need to be done, Kenosha County can immediately take the action of recognizing racism as a public health crisis. The Wisconsin Population Health Institute started this initiative about a year ago. The Kenosha County Division of Health has signed on to this effort. I have signed on as an individual and encourage others to do the same. I will email the link to the county board, and it will be available on the county's homepage at kenoshacounty.org. This action acknowledges, among other things, that our responsibilities to address racism include reshaping our discourse and agenda so that we all actively engage in racial justice and racial justice work. I also joined Supervisor Laura Belsky, Chairwoman of the Human Services Committee, in calling for a full county board to approve a racism as a public health crisis resolution, which will commit us to take actions forward addressing and remediating the health impacts of systemic racism. The resolution is being developed and should be available for full review soon. Thank you to Supervisor Belsky and the Health Division for taking the lead on this resolution. I pledge my personal commitment to listen, empathize, ask questions, understand, and take action to address this pandemic of racism in our community and the world. Our residents of this county expect us to pull together, which we will do. And my view of Kenosha County is that the best is yet to come for all of us. These pandemics are not over, but we will overcome this and get through it together. May God bless America, and may God bless Kenosha County.
All right, great. All right. Well, thank you, everyone, and good evening, members of the Kenosha County Board. My name is Jen Reese, and I'm the interim 4-H youth educator with Extension Kenosha County. I am here to introduce the 2020-2021 Kenosha County Youth and Governance representatives. As in past years, there continued to be tremendous interest in the Kenosha County Youth and Governance program. We received 133 nominations for the Youth and Governance program this year. And from those nominations, 14 youth were selected, and those names were then recommended to Chairman O'Day. We will now appoint the 2020-2021 Kenosha County Youth and Governance representatives. When we are able to meet in person, each youth will receive their official Kenosha County pin from Chairman O'Day and Supervisor Gashke, the chair of the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee. As I call the names of the youth serving on each committee, I will ask the Youth and Governance mentor for that committee to please stand if able and if present, or wave your hand. Each representative will then state their name, their school, their grade, and the name of their county board supervisor. Finance and Administration Committee, mentor, Supervisor Monica Uhas.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sahar Karani. I go to Bradford High School. I will be a senior in the upcoming year, and my county board supervisor is Supervisor Moore.
Good evening, members of this distinguished committee. My name is Caleb Stanford. I will be a senior as of this fall at Christian Life School. My county board supervisor is Supervisor Gens. Thank you.
Human Services Committee, serving as mentor, Supervisor Andy Berg.
Hi, I am Armand Harris. I go to Harborside Academy. I am an 11th. I will be a senior in the fall, and my county board supervisor is Supervisor Rodriguez.
And joining Armand on the Human Services Committee and not able to be with us this evening is Melissa Marici. She's going to be a senior at Tremper, and her county board supervisor is Supervisor Wamble. Joint Services Board, serving as mentor, Chief of Staff, Jenny Tunkeys.
Hello, my name is Tristan Jans. I go to Westosha Central High School. I'm going to be in 11th grade, and my county board supervisor is Supervisor Pomaville.
Hello, my name is Sarah Tishkovska. I go to Westosha Central High School, and I'll be entering senior year. My county board supervisor is Supervisor Yuha.
Judiciary and Law Committee, serving as mentor, Supervisor David Celebre.
Vienna Horiak. I go to Westosha Central High School. I am a senior, and my county board supervisor is Supervisor Beth.
Hi, my name is Gabrielle Wellman. I go to Tremper High School. I'm a senior, and my county board supervisor is Supervisor Rodriguez.
Legislative Committee, serving as mentor, Supervisor Boyd Frederick.
Hello, my name is Audrey Wilk. I go to Lakeview Technology Academy. I'm going to be a senior, and my county board supervisor is Terry Rose.
Hello, my name is Shelby Jans, and I go to Bradford High School, and I will be a senior this fall. My county board supervisor is Supervisor Belsky.
The Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, serving as mentor, Supervisor Daniel Gaffney.
Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Noble. I go to Indian Trail High School. I will be a senior in the fall, and my county board supervisor is Supervisor Celebrity.
And joining Lauren on the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee is Callahan Miles. Callahan will be a junior at Catholic Central, and his supervisor is Supervisor Decker. Public Works and Facilities Committee, serving as mentor, Supervisor John Franco.
Hello, my name is Paul Capelli. I attend Westosha Central. I will be a senior in the fall, and my county board supervisor is Supervisor Palmaville.
Hi, my name is Keldon Kopp. I go to Wilmot Union High School. I'm going to be a senior next year, and my county board supervisor is Supervisor Winke.
So we are really proud of this outstanding group of Kenosha County youth, and we really look forward to what they are able to contribute to Kenosha County governments over this next year. And lastly, we acknowledge you, the Kenosha County Board, for your continued support of youth and governance. Thank you for providing this amazing leadership opportunity for the youth of Kenosha County. Thank you.
Hold on a second. We're going to get a mic for you.
Thank you.
Just try to speak right at it.
Okay. Mary Magdalene, Missouri, 2106 73rd Street. Good evening. It's nice to be here again. I'd like to thank the county board for this letter commending my service as chairman of 2 polling locations on April 7th, 2020 during the peak, and yes, it was the peak, of the COVID-19 pandemic. I hope you can all appreciate, as do I, the colossal level of irony that in less than a month after risking my life to ensure the integrity of our elections and the right of every citizen to cast a ballot, I was thrown against a wall, handcuffed, arrested, and cited to the extreme degree of $1,535 for simply trying to attend and participate in a noticed open meeting of this body. So what am I supposed to believe? Is my 16 years of service as a Kenosha poll worker, 7 of which have been as a chief election inspector, really commendable in the eyes of the county board or not? I came to the May 5th meeting to speak during citizen comments against item J, which would allow elected officials to meet virtually, exclude citizens, and authorize voting in absentia. I cannot imagine anything worse in this age of increased dehumanization and decreased human interaction than to propose that any government entity further separate itself from the electorate it claims to represent and serve. No one ever said being a civil servant or an elected official would be safe or risk-free. In fact, the opposite is true. If the Kenosha County Board honestly believes my service as a poll worker is worthy of commendation, it should follow my example and jump into the fray. I will die before I will dishonor the commitment I made to serve my fellow citizens as Chief Election Inspector, and I proved that on April 7th, 2020. I am not demanding a level of commitment from anyone higher than that which I have already held myself to and have been commended by this very body for doing. Any other civil servant or elected official unable or unwilling to fulfill the duties which he or she voluntarily agreed to perform should immediately quit or resign. I also want to know what legal authority is being used to keep taxpayers and citizens locked out of the Kenosha County Administration Building during normal business hours. There is no federal state of emergency, no Wisconsin state of emergency, and no Kenosha County state of emergency anymore. Why on earth is that building still locked 1 month after the Wisconsin Supreme Court found that all the lockdown orders were unconstitutional? That building needs to be opened up to citizens tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizens' comments? Seeing none, we'll move on. Supervisor reports. Committee Chair Supervisor reports, please. Mr. Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Public Works Committee had its monthly meeting first day of this month, and as you can imagine, there's quite a few items to address here. I'll just go through them briefly. We can start with the highways, and we can talk about the County Trail Project, which is the one that crosses the Plains River on County Highway C. It had a ribbon-cutting ceremony, not this past Saturday, but the Saturday preceding that, relatively well attended. And the takeaway message, in addition to quality of life and providing additional opportunities for Kenosha County residents, is that the vast majority of this particular project was paid for by state and federal funds. So when you take a look at the ability to recoup money coming back from Kenosha County, which is taxpayer money, it's a good thing when we can accomplish it without levy dollars being used to the extent that other projects require. Along the trail project agenda, we also have completion of a link going between essentially 22nd Avenue and Sheridan Road. That was paved this week, and that's ready almost for usage. Brookside parking lot, as you may notice on Washington Road, there's been some tear-up construction for turning lanes, parking lot that's essentially complete. We're taking a look at now on County S, Washington Road. The Phase 1 has been out to bid, and you've noticed the construction going over the railroad tracks. You're going to see a set of new trestles emerge on the north side of the existing road bed. Phase 2, which is County H to I-94, went out to bid late last month. The results are in. We've not at least heard from my end who the successful bidder is, but that is moving along. County F, out on the western edge of the county, Twin Lakes and so forth, there was a virtual meeting this past June 9th detailing all the construction projects, and that is a sizable project. Not for this year, but for next year, the County A and County Y, which is 22nd Avenue and County A, will eventually have a roundabout that's up there by a little bit east of Petrifying Springs, corner of Kenosha Country Club. High accident potential there, so that will be a roundabout next construction season. County KR is pretty much complete on the initial section, which is I-94 to County H. Still some cleanup work, but now the other part, which is County H to Highway 31, has been out to bid, and we will get results from that. And that is actually a state project. That's not the Kenosha County Department of Public Works involved in that, other than to review it and to do traffic direction. State Highway 45, big project. As you may notice, part of State Highway 45 is closed from KR down essentially to, I think, about Washington Road, County S. That will be going on all summer. So that concludes our lengthy public works and highways. We can talk about parks next. Things are mainly back to normal in the parks. There are a few exceptions, and that is pavilion rentals are canceled through July 31st of this year. That is going to be reviewed, and we'll have further information as time goes along, but just due to the whole COVID thing, that's a big concern there. Silver Lake Beach, very popular place on the 4th of July. We're going to have some restrictions out there, and it'll probably be limited to a certain number of parking spaces that when they fill up, then the park will actually not allow any more visitors in. And again, it's all COVID related, and that still has a few moving parts, so you can look forward to additional information coming forward on that. Kemper had some substantial storm damage, big northeast winds, shoreline erosion. Mentioned earlier in Mr. Cruz's address, we're seeking FEMA money, and we're working on that. You'll notice in Petrifying Springs, so there'll be some trails that will be restored, especially along County JR and the riverbed of the Pike Creek. That's going to be going on this particular construction season, and that'll be a big benefit because some of those are highly erodible, and we can see some benefits there. Golf has been doing well, much better since the weather's turned around. We did not get the precipitation this month so far in June that we encountered in May, so it's a good situation there. We're lucky to have a good staff. It's difficult, as you can imagine, some of these times to staff your operations, and you're doing quite well. We're on to facilities now for Public Works. We have a few projects going on. One of the most notable ones is the Public Safety Building project downtown. The 20 or 25 years ago, where they do the sealants of these large buildings, they have to be repaired, and that is going to be accomplished this construction season, and we're pleased to see that. I think that's the majority of what I wanted to talk about. If there's anything else here. No, I think that's the majority of it. We did have a tower that was erected in the past 2 weeks. It is in Silver Lake Park, and it is at the top of the hill. And the reason for that is there are areas of western Kenosha County, especially down towards the state line, which have very spotty coverage for public safety, communications, fire, sheriff's department, and so forth, and all the municipalities. So this will be the final tower in the 4-tower series to provide better communication. We have downtown campus has a large monopole. We have Nash Park over there on 60th Street and Green Bay Road. We have the Highway 50 and 45, and then finally this one erected just recently in Silver Lake Park will be the final one. That's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Boyd?
The podium up here. Is that okay?
I'll follow you. I'm going to move the podium. Supervisor Frederick.
So everyone aware, the joint meeting between Finance and the Judiciary and Law will be July 16th in this room, starting at 6 p.m. to discuss cameras for the police officers.
Thank you.
Finance Department requested that much time, so they'll be ready for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Daniel? This is.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. First, as Jen mentioned earlier this evening, as Chair of Planning, Development, and Extended Education, I just want to personally welcome all of our youth and governance participants that are newly participating this year, starting this month. I also want to thank each of you who are serving as mentors to these youth. And finally, I want to encourage each of you on our board to be intentional about introducing yourself to and getting to know these young people who are assigned to the committees that you serve on. Obviously, I recognize during this period of virtual meetings that's a little bit more difficult, but you certainly can still reach out via email or phone and begin that relationship now and hopefully be able to get to know each other better in the future. Second, we here in Kenosha County are in the midst of our annual Bike to Work weeks. And so tonight, I just want to take a few minutes to speak about our county's beautiful bike trails and park system. Last week, I rode my bike to and from work a couple of times. My wife Emily and I are small business owners, and our music school is located in Supervisor Rodriguez's district on 26th Ave, just south of Roosevelt Road. I also rode my bike to my barber shop, and I got this nice clean cut here, which is located in the Uptown neighborhood right in my district. And I rode my bike a few other times, pulling our 2- and 3-year-olds behind me in their little cart throughout Supervisor Brady and Rose's districts to several parks and playgrounds throughout the downtown and Harborside neighborhood. So this week, I rode 15 miles round trip yesterday up to Petrifying Springs up in Supervisor Maurer's district, pulling our kids behind me and enjoyed spending several hours there at that beautiful park. Today I biked about 10 miles round trip, again pulling the kids, and we spent some time at Washington Park and then rode right past Supervisor Kubicki's house on my way up to Supervisor Belsky's district, where we enjoyed a few hours at Corio Park and the Nature Preserve. Tonight, I took Bike to Work weeks literally, and I biked to our meetings here tonight, which I must admit was much, much easier without pulling the kids behind me today. It's been good training. And finally, this Friday is my 40th birthday, and we will be celebrating by going to Boundless Adventures in Bristol this week, and then taking a family bike ride back out to Pets, where I'm looking forward to enjoying a pretzel and a brat and a refreshing beverage at the beer garden before biking back home again. So why am I taking all the time to say this? It's because I love and I support our county's bike trails and park system. And even more than that, 10 years ago, when Emily and I were considering relocating to Kenosha, it was our beautiful parks and lakefront and bike trails and other recreational amenities that played a major factor in attracting us to make Kenosha our new home, to start our new business, and to grow and raise our family here. And even though I live in an urban neighborhood, I love that our community is a safe and accessible place for bicyclists and others. So thank you to County Executive Cruiser for supporting and spearheading these multi-use trails and developments. And thank you to our dedicated parks and public works employees and everyone else who day in, day out make Kenosha a quality place to live, work, and play, and raise a family. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark, did you have a
I have a
comment?
question to Supervisor Brady on the golf. You want me to go up there or have an answer?
You want to talk about the golf?
About golf, yeah. Are the carts being fully used now at Pets and at Brightondale, or are they still limited use?
If I understand the question correctly, it's regarding to use of motorized carts for golf at Pet Functions in Brightondale. It's kind of an evolving situation, Supervisor Nordigan. Initially, what had been in place was no carts, it was walk only. Then it was each person could take their own cart, and then they have decided that with the state of things and being outdoors and sanitizing in between usage, you can now actually have 2 riders per cart. So I guess it's back to more or less normal for the golf cart situation.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Supervisor Yunus?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, the Pringle Nature Center Board of Directors recently held its Board of Directors meeting, and I'd like to give you an update on behalf of that board. All public events scheduled for July have been canceled, but there are many things you can participate in online at Bristol Woods. There's a weekly Pringle photo challenge. Keep your camera ready. Each week, the Pringle Nature Center will host the photo scavenger hunt challenge, and it can be completed in any park. Take a photo of each item and check off the list. When you're done, post your photo challenge on Instagram or Facebook. Take Pringle Nature Center and your favorite photo for a chance to win a free friend of Pringle family membership. More creative the photo, the better. Which tickets right now are Bristol Woods? You can take a hike. Bristol Woods offers over 4 miles of trails through woodland, prairie, and wetland habitat. Bring your boots, and trails can get muddy this time of year. You can also bring your one-legged friend. Leash dogs are always welcome in the park, and doggy days are provided at stations near the parking lot. Please remember it's important to keep your dog on a leash due to wild animals returning to the park and flex your natural skills. In the Queen Bee, there are many birds and chickens, other animals returning to the park. Not to mention the green wildflowers. We'll post our findings on social media, and see if you can spot the different varieties of wildflowers. Some of the recently spotted arrivals include red-winged blackbirds. These are birds and whole trains, mating rabbits and frequency, otherwise known as frogs. You can go on a treasure hunt. Geocaching has been called a global treasure hunt. If you're new to the hobby, check out the geocaching website for cache clues important to local parks. Use your smartphone or other GPS device to see how many caches you can hunt down in Bristol Woods. For extra fun, bring in your own small items to crate. You can also get crafty with kindness rock. Kindness rock, painted and visited in public places all over the country, are intended to inspire and bring smiles to others. When you find a rock, move it to a new place for the next person. You can also see kindness rock Kenosha for creative space for inspiration. And lastly, you can start your own nature passport. Download the Pringle Nature Center Nature Passport in your adventure in Kenosha County Park. Kids can complete activities throughout the year and earn stamps for their passport. During June 21st and July 4th, there are virtual nature activities and virtual photo challenges to participate in. Be sure to visit the Pringle Nature Center Facebook and Instagram pages, as well as their website for up-to-date information. Pringle Nature Center is a regional resource for people of all ages in experience nature, environmental education, conservation, and stewardship. And in doing so, we inspire to become responsible stewards of the environment. We do this by putting people in touch with nature. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports? You have a committee group? Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to briefly speak on what's happening in our nation today. And many of you guys know, I've known several people for years now, and now we've been able to meet with several new faces as we're going to the second term. I tend to be one of the people who keep going guy. I have laughs, there are trials, there are good times, but I'm not really an emotional guy. So I'm going to try not to get too emotional as I speak on this, because it's really out of character for me. What we saw in Minnesota was disgusting, was repulsive, was reprehensible. We saw an American citizen lose his life after following commands of police officers. We saw his fellow citizens surround him and tell those officers to get off his neck. And we saw a nation come together and say what happened was wrong. As some of you know, my family is a family of immigrants coming to the U.S. as political refugees from Cuba during the Cold War. My grandpa came here with nothing in his pocket, losing part of his family on the way here, and the idea that this nation was going to be the nation that could give him whatever he wanted. My grandpa busted and busted and busted. And eventually he had my mother, and my mother raised 3 children by herself, and she did the same thing. She busted until she couldn't go anymore. Now she's successful. She owns a small business here in Kenosha. I'm incredibly proud of her. She taught my brother, myself, and my sister those same principles. But what hurts me is racism is a problem in this nation. And I think I can say, and I hope and I pray I can say, that nobody in this room promotes those racist ideals. However, it is our job to call them out whenever and wherever we see them. Because I was never raised, I was never told to see myself as a minority, as a Hispanic. But that's the fact of the matter, and that's who I am, and I'm proud of where my family's from and our culture and our history. But first and foremost, I see myself as an American citizen. And I was raised here, and I was born here, and because of that, like everybody else in this room, I'm incredibly lucky. However, time and time again, we see, and I say our brothers and sisters, whether they're African American, Asian, Hispanic, white, whatever they are, being looked down upon by somebody else who has a different color skin. And it is our jobs as elected officials to make sure it doesn't happen in our communities. And this isn't a sly on the older generations, as I'm the youngest one in here, but I look towards the future. I look towards all of these students here. I'm Gen Z right at the start of it. These are almost definitely Gen Zs as well. There is no generation better poised than my own to stomp out racism in this country, because it does exist and it needs to end. If you have a problem with that, quite frankly, I'm not going to tell you to keep your opinions to your own, because I want to hear them. But if you hold those racist tendencies deep down to your core, and you see somebody else share those values, and you see them on the news media, you see them on social media, where there's a video recording, oh, they shouldn't have lost their job. What does them having to do, being a racist have to do with them losing their job? Well, if you're a racist in this country, I want your neighbors to know it. I want your elected officials to know it. I want your friends, your family, everyone to know it. Because if you're proud enough to hold those values so deep inside your core, you should be proud enough to share those values with those around you. But until then, I call on everybody else in this room, and especially these students. To the students, I can't stress it to you enough. We are our nation's future. When I was first elected to the county board, I was the youngest county board supervisor in the state of Wisconsin, all 72 counties. I don't know if I still am, but nonetheless, my challenge to you guys is, whether it's pursuing public policy, whether it's being a doctor, entering, you're going to work in a manual labor field, whatever it is, whenever and wherever you see racism, you call it out. You stand up for those citizens who stand arm in arm with you when you're getting called out or when you're being mistreated. Again, I'm sorry, I don't want to keep on going, but it's much more than what anybody thinks it is. I was privileged enough to not really face a whole lot of racism growing up. Unfortunately, a few weeks ago I did. And this person told me that when they're walking down the street, or they're in their home and they see somebody walking down the street, if they saw a black or, quote, Mexican guy walking down the street, minding his business, that's what this person told me, versus a, quote, drunk, white frat guy, that he would hold his things tighter and lock his doors, and then he would be more scared because those two individuals, through no fault of their own, had darker skin. And when I called him out on that and I said that, there's no crime for having darker skin, he said, well, I'm sorry, but that's the way 90% of people think. That's a fact of life. Racism is a fact of life and could not be farther from the truth. People are taught racism, and I am proud to say that I don't know about anybody else in this room, but the people I know, 90% of them are not racist. And quite frankly, if you are racist, I want nothing to do with it. So again, my challenge is for everybody in this room, for you students, for our community, when you see racism, call it out. When you see an injustice occurring, say something. Because together, fighting something like this, we're much, much stronger. Thank you.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you. Appreciate it. Before we go on, I have one announcement to make. I did have a conversation with Supervisor Jeff Gent. It's not on? I had a supervisor comment with Jeff Gentz, and he agreed to, chose Shalom Center for his donation next month. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that $200 is going to Shalom Center. We have county executive appointments next.
County executive appointments, David Celebree to serve on the Brookside Board of Trustees.
Refer to Human Services Committee.
Number 4, Sean Smith to serve as the Kenosha County Chief Information Officer.
Refer to Finance and Administration Committee.
New business, ordinance, first reading, 2 required. 6, from the Finance and Administration Committee, an ordinance amending the MCKC Chapter 3.631 penalty on delinquent taxes and special assessments. Supervisor Rose, nay. Gantz, aye. Uhas, aye. Ron Frederick, aye. Wamble, aye. Franco, aye. Kubicki, nay.
Ordinances.
Oh.
Number 7.
Just 2 required, sorry. Ordinance, 1 reading from the Planning and Development and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Myron G. and Doreen A. Daniels, revocable trust owner, Neil and Angela Daniels, agent, requesting a comprehensive plan amendment from farmland protection and isolated natural resource area to farmland protection, rural density residential, and isolated natural resource area, Town of Brighton. Supervisor Gashke, aye. Mauer, aye. Beth, aye. Nudo, aye. Rodriguez, aye.
Now a motion from Supervisor Gashke and a second by Supervisor Mauer. Supervisor Gashke.
Thank you. We have 3 things coming out of our committee tonight before us. All are related to the same property. This property is located on the southeast corner of the intersection between 31st Street and 247th Avenue, Town of Brighton. The state requires that a resolution from the Planning, Development, and Education Committee and an ordinance from the full county board to amend the comprehensive plan. So this resolution would allow an amendment to the Kenosha County Comprehensive Plan for a change from farmland protection and isolated natural resource area to farmland protection, rural density, residential, and isolated natural resource area. The town of Brighton did recommend approval for this request, and as noted, it did come out of our committee with full support, and I urge your support tonight.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Terry?
My point of order is this an ordinance? Two readings are required.
Two readings are not required for ordinances relating to the zoning map.
Any other questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Carried, thank you.
Number 8, from the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee, an ordinance regarding Myron G. and Doreen A. Daniels, revocable trust owner, Neil and Angela Daniels, agent, requesting a rezoning from A1 Agricultural Preservation District and C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District to A1 Agricultural Preservation District, R1 Rural Residential District, C2 Upland Resource Conservancy District, and C1 Lowland Resource Conservancy District, Town of Brighton. Supervisor Gaschke, aye. Mauer, aye. Beth, aye. Nudo, aye. Rodriguez, aye.
I have a motion by Supervisor Gaske and a second by Supervisor Nudo. Supervisor Gaske.
Okay, again, this property is located on the southeast corner of the intersection between 31st Street and 247th Avenue, Town of Brighton. This rezoning would allow subdivision of a 5-acre parcel to construct a new single-family residence. Again, the Town of Brighton recommended approval of this request as well as full support of our committee. We ask for your support tonight.
Any questions? See no discussion. All those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Nay. Carried, thank you.
Resolution, 1 reading, 5 from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement and Finance and Administration Committees, a resolution 2020 Wisconsin OJA Multi-Jurisdiction Drug Task Force Grant, Southeast Area Drug Operations Group, CDOG. Supervisor Boyd Frederick, aye. Celebrity, aye. Wamble, aye. Belsky, aye. Nordigan, aye. Palmaville, aye. Gully, aye. Supervisor Rose, aye. Gens, aye. Ron Frederick, aye. Wamble, aye. Kubicki, aye. Uhas, aye. Franco, aye.
A motion by Supervisor Boyd Frederick, a second by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Frederick.
It's resolution 7, correct? It's a grant for $53,140 with no additional levy. It's for the CDOG group. This is an annual thing they get for the Southeast Area Drug Operations Group. It's for investigation costs, informant information, drug buy, and other expenses. It was passed unanimously from the Judiciary and Law and through the Finance Committee.
Thank you. Any questions?
Is this resolution 7 or 5?
5.
I got it for you.
It's number 5.
Then move resolution 5, then I'm sorry.
5. It's a budget modification, so we're going to have the clerk call roll.
Laura Belsky.
Aye.
Andy Berg.
Aye.
Sandra Beth.
Aye.
David Celebree.
Aye.
Aaron Decker.
Aye.
John Franco. Boyd Frederick.
Aye.
Ron Frederick.
Aye.
Daniel Gaschke.
Aye.
Jeff Gens.
Aye.
William Grady.
Aye.
Jerry Gully.
Aye.
Edward Kubicki.
Aye.
Amy Mauer. Mark Nordigan.
Aye.
Gabe Nudo.
Aye.
John O'Day.
Aye.
Sharon Palmaville. Zach Rodriguez.
Aye.
Terry Rose.
Aye.
Jeff Wamble.
Aye.
Lon Winkie.
Aye.
Monica Uhas.
Aye.
Ayes have it, thank you. Passes.
Number 6, from the Judiciary and Law Enforcement Committee, a resolution to approve the appointment of Mark Midori to serve on the Kenosha Joint Services Board. Supervisor Boyd Frederick, aye. Celebree, aye. Wamble, aye. Belsky, aye. Nordigan, aye. Palmaville, aye. Gully, aye.
Motion by Supervisor Boyd Frederick, a second by Supervisor Jeff Wamble. Supervisor Frederick.
Move resolution 6.
All those in favor?
Hold on. Item 10.
You want to talk about it? Go ahead.
Yeah. Mr. Midori attended 29 of 32 meetings. He is a past county board member and a past alderman, so that makes him very experienced in the position, and he succeeds himself. Thank you.
Any discussion or questions? Are you having a question?
I will be voting against Mr. Midori's appointment. I recently learned that he posted on Facebook support of Antifa, which Antifa has been declared a terrorist organization by President Trump, and they are one of the groups behind the distraction of the peaceful protests regarding George Floyd that turned into looting and riots. So I will be voting against Mr. Midori.
Thank you. Jeff Gant?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would just like to say that we don't take anything up about Antifa and joint services, and Mr. Midori has done a great job, been totally on the fence, not supporting City or County, but actually joint services, the operations of joint services, and our community. So he has been a valuable member in the past. I just wanted to let everybody know that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions? You want to talk from there, or you want to go to the mic?
I can talk here, that's fine.
Talk loud, just stand up. Stand up and talk.
I had voted. In committee, I voted for this until this new information came out, and I'm going to have to not support this based on this going forward. Thank you.
Any other discussion or questions? Jerry?
I've known Mark Midori for years. I've always found him to be a sensible individual. This information that was brought to our attention by Supervisor Decker here is indeed surprising and concerning to the degree that I would like to hear Mr. Midori. I don't know if this is accurate or not, but at least I'd like to hear what, if it is. I would like, therefore, to move this to be referred back to the committee for consideration for that purpose.
Motion's been made to refer. Second has been made. To act on that first. Any questions on that motion to refer?
Roll call request, Mr. Chairman.
Seeing no questions, take a roll call.
Laura Belsky?
No.
Andy Berg?
No.
Sandra Beth?
No.
David Celebree?
No.
Aaron Decker?
Yes.
John Franco?
Yes.
Boyd Frederick?
No.
Ron Frederick?
No.
Daniel Gashke?
Yes.
Jeff Gant?
No.
William Grady?
Yes.
Jerry Gully?
No.
Ed Kubicki?
No.
Amy Mauer?
Yes.
Mark Nordigan?
Yes.
Gabe Nudo?
Yes.
John O'Day?
No.
Sharon Palmaville? Zach Rodriguez?
Yes.
Terry Rose?
Yes.
Jeff Wamble?
Yes.
Lon Winkie?
Yes.
Monica Uhas?
Yes.
12 yes. 11 no.
Let's refer back. Thank you.
Number 8, from the Public Works and Facilities and Finance. I thought that was 7.
Playing in.
Oh, yeah. 6. Oops.
It's okay.
Thank you. Erasable pen. Okay. 7. Thank you. From the Planning and Development and Extension Education Committee, a resolution regarding Myron G. and Doreen A. Daniels, revocable trust owner, Neil and Angela Daniels agent, requesting a comprehensive plan amendment from farmland protection and isolated natural resource area to farmland protection, rural density residential, and isolated natural resource area, Town of Brighton. Supervisor Gashke, aye. Mauer, aye. Beth, aye. Nudo, aye. Rodriguez, aye.
Motion by Supervisor Gashke, second by Supervisor Rodriguez. Supervisor Gashke.
All right, thank you. Once again, this property is located on the southeast corner of the intersection between 31st Street and 247th Avenue, Town of Brighton. Same property that we've discussed earlier tonight. Again, the Town of Brighton recommended the approval as well as our committee. We ask for your support. Thank you.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. Thank you, carried.
Resolution 8, from the Public Works and Facilities and Finance and Administration Committee, a resolution approving an agreement between Kenosha County and Thielen Gravel for gravel mining on county property. Supervisor Grady, aye. Franco, aye. Belsky, aye. Berg, aye. Rodriguez, aye. Nudo, aye. Palmaville, aye. Supervisor Rose, aye. Gens, aye. Ron Frederick, aye. Wamble, aye. Kubicki, aye. Uhas, aye. Franco, aye.
Motion by Supervisor Grady, a second by Supervisor Rose. Supervisor Grady.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you probably read in the resolution, the quarry, the pit that Kenosha County owns, which is close to the state line, southern part of Kenosha County, has basically reached its useful life, at least what you would think in most cases, being able to be mined and used for Kenosha County purposes. That is one particular facet that was brought to our attention by a neighboring concern, which is Thielen Sand and Gravel. And being directly adjacent to us, they had the opportunity to look at our pit and say, you know, there's actually a way that you probably could get some useful material out of here. It just requires technology and expertise and a conveyor belt, which they already have in place, which Kenosha County doesn't. So that's one side of the coin. The other side of the coin is all operators of mining operations, gravel pits, what have you, when its useful life is over, it has to be restored. And restoring of such a pit that we have here as part of Kenosha County we're responsible for does require a fair amount of cash, time, effort, and so forth. So when the Public Works looked at this, and it's been under review for some period of time, the idea was that basically anything that could be harvested out of the Kenosha County pit would be done. It would be basically paid for. We receive a monetary stipend for the gravel that's mined. There's a associated fee schedule you can take a look at. But the big thing, at least in my looking at this resolution, and the committee I think agreed as well, is getting the restoration of this land back to something other than just a hole in the ground. So under those circumstances, the committee was disposed, and I believe the Terry Rose's committee for finance was as well. And that is pretty much it in a nutshell. Now, there is one thing I have to point out to our committee members, and that is, it came out of the finance committee. If you look at the resolution on the second page, the first whereas, there actually was a modification, and I would consider the modification to be a friendly amendment. The verbiage that was there originally was termed would assist by Thielen, and as it came out of committee for finance recently, this past Thursday, it was changed to will restore. So as a whereas, I don't think it materially affects the resolution in a substantially different manner, but it should be pointed out to all of us here in this room, and especially our committee members should be advised that Public Works, there is this change. So with that, I'll conclude my remarks and ask for your questions or approval. Thank you.
Mark first.
The county pit is relatively close to where I live. It's actually in my district. It's in Randall. The Thielen gravel pit, which was highly controversial when it was coming up, would have been in Randall, except for, again, the board, they, I guess, made a few people in Thielen's mad, and they managed to annex into Twin Lakes. This is a good thing, what they're trying to do here. At least now, some of Randall is going to get at least something because of the county getting it. It's going to be restored back to what it should or would have been had it not ever been used. There's 3 supervisors here that are representative of Randall. In a small town like that, because 3 supervisors, there must be something. But I'm highly in favor of this. The gravel pit was taken away from us, or we managed to, kick ourselves in the teeth on that one. This, at least we get something back to the people in Randall. Thank you.
Yeah.
question to address Phelan. What is the useful life, since Kenosha County doesn't have the ability to mine anymore? What do you figure is the useful life of this pit for you guys?
And the gentleman is?
My name is Steve Thielen, president of Thielen Sand and Gravel.
Okay.
We've owned this property for a significant period of time. When we were approved to come up to do the mining, we finally got all the crossings and everything we needed to get to there. We're looking at this process to get across there. I believe we should be through that property in, the agreement says 10, it'll more than likely will be out of the county side of it, much earlier than that, but it's really dependent on what is the economic drivers, which is how fast do I need to extract that gravel, and that will be driver as to how quickly I'll be through that property. So in short order, I believe 6 years, but I don't know what COVID's going to do. I don't know what any kind of future recessions are going to do, so I wanted to have a little bit of time so that we can actually do a very nice job of the properties that we've reclaimed. As an example for you, my history is I think, the best prediction of my future. And we reclaimed almost 700 acres. And in both of those applications that I did, we applied for and received the state's reclamation award and the national award for those two facilities that we've done, the only two we've done. So my expectation, and I've met with the parks departments, and I've met with the highway department, and if I work closely with them, my reclamation can occur concurrently at the same time that I'm actually doing the mining, when I'm stripping and reclaiming. It's just a matter of how can we work together, because as my father gave to me, I give to my children. The instructions is work with your community, because you are part of that community, and what you leave will predict what you will do in the future. So we really want to do a very nice job, as we've done with every other property that we've reclaimed. So that's a long answer for my guess is it's somewhere between 6 and 10 years, but it really is going to be dependent on the economies. So I don't know if that answers the question.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions or comments? All right, we're ready for a vote then. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? Nay? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Resolution 9, resolution commending Kenosha County's 2020 graduating high school seniors and declaring July 2020 Kenosha County Graduating High School Seniors Month. Supervisor Berg, aye. Boyd Frederick, aye. Nordigan, aye. Mauer, aye. Winky, aye. Beth, aye. Kubicki, aye.
Motion by Supervisor Berg and second by Supervisor Rodriguez. Supervisor Rodriguez, after Mr. Berg makes the motion first.
This motion was brought by Supervisor Rodriguez. Some of the numbers are amazing, what our students have done in Kenosha County. Over $24 million in scholarships that our students have gotten out of these high schools. Something else that strikes heart to me is community service. They've gotten over 58,300 community service hours. It's amazing what they do for nonprofits here in Kenosha County. With that, I'll go ahead and let you try it.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Supervisor Berg. One of us did our math wrong, so I'm going to read my numbers too. I didn't do too hot in math in high school, so I'm willing to bet Andy's numbers are better than mine, or Supervisor Berg's numbers are better than mine. My math added up to $25,769,765 in scholarship funds received by 2,574 students here throughout Kenosha County. And then community service was shy a bit over 59,000. Something else I want to draw attention to is KUSD alone had over 25,000 credit hours completed. Not every school was able to get me that information given the circumstances, but we do expect that that is not quite 100,000, but close to 100,000 credit hours completed. Two more shout outs as well. I want to recognize the two schools who had the highest scholarship total per student on average. St. Joseph Catholic Academy with 69 graduating seniors. On average, those students received over $79,000 apiece in financial aid, scholarships, the sort. And Catholic Central, which is actually in Racine County, our neighbors to the north, but we have several students who attend school there. With 33 students, those students averaged nearly $91,000 in scholarship. That is quite incredible. And then just quickly, I'm thankful and happy that this resolution is being co-sponsored by all 23 of us on the board. And then just want to quickly read the names into the record of these high schools. In Kenosha County and our neighbors to the north there, we have Bradford High School, Catholic Central High School, Central High School of Westosha, Christian Life School, Harborside Academy, Indian Trail High School and Academy, Kenosha East School, Lakeview Technology Academy, Ruther Central High School, Shoreland Lutheran High School, St. Joseph's Catholic Academy, George Nelson Tremper High School, Wilmot Union High School, Kenosha, and then Kenosha Unified also had 230 students who successfully passed the Iowa test, which is the equivalent to their GED. So congratulations to those guys as well. And lastly, before I encourage your support with this tonight, and I don't suspect we have any challenges. Lastly, I just want to call on our community, really come together. So let's celebrate these high school seniors. And I want to call on, local business owners as well. If there's something you can do for these high school students, let them know that their communities, their family, their educators stand behind them. Please do so. And I have contact Mr. Patente here with the county as well. We will be publishing this on our social media as well, so please do share. And hopefully with any businesses, if you have something to offer these students, the county would like to use its resources as well to make that known to the public. Thank you.
Seeing no other
I have a question.
questions?
Supervisor Rodriguez, I know you listed all the high schools. Did you happen to check with Hillcrest with their graduating seniors? Because I don't see them listed.
No. I requested everything through KUSD's superintendent's office, and that's what they provided.
I think it would be important to maybe reach out to the principal at Hillcrest. If we're going to include all the high schools, I think we should make sure that we double check, just so we're not missing someone. Because I know they do have seniors that are graduating.
Are those students part of the Iowa program?
They have many different programs in this school, so I don't know. But I would encourage you to reach out to the principal, just so we're not missing one high school.
Right. My only thing with that would be is, when I reached out to the superintendent's office,
What they gave you.
Yeah, when I reached out to the superintendent's office and I asked for all of their high school's information, this is what they provided to us. And like, for example, Kenosha East School was one that had skipped my mind. And seeing such only had 13 seniors in that class. So my initial thought is that Hillcrest, those students may be included in that Iowa test. I can't speak more to that. And KUSD was also, they took the longest to compile all this information. And when I received a follow-up email from, I'd have to look who he was, the director of something, education, they had actually missed out on those Iowa tests.
Something like that be added in later.
These are
Get these information.
seniors, but they did the Iowa test and they went through the program for the equivalency. And so that to me is KUSD coming in and stating, hey, this is all of our students. Yeah. My only concern would be, if I waited to reach out to KUSD, one, it usually takes me the better half of a week to hear back from them. And the reason that this went to committee tonight and to the county board tonight is to be passed before July.
Okay, I just, being involved in the school district on many different committees, I just know that that is a high school. There are graduating students there. Some of them may even get scholarships. So I just wanted, I don't want them to be left out and create.
Right, no, and I see that, and I get, my concern is that we reached out to KOSD, we reached out to, I mean, a lot of these schools are governed by their own school board, and their own district, and this took over 2 months to put together, because we waited so long on a lot of these schools to get their information, and a lot of them, you'll notice in there, some weren't even able to compile certain things. Community service hours is one, or they didn't have accurate numbers for scholarships, et cetera. So that's my concern. To speak to the Hillcrest point, when like I said, I've spoken with Joe Vicente. If he, we can add Hillcrest, I'm not sure if he's going to do a graphic or what his plan is on that, or if he wanted to list all those schools. But if, after reaching out to KOSD, if they can provide something from Hillcrest, I wouldn't be opposed to including that, if it was a graphic or something like that. But it's the nature of the timing for this is concerning. The reason we did this way tonight as well is we wanted it to be June originally, didn't hear back from the schools in time, so we made it July because come August, first couple weeks of August, students are leaving Kenosha County to attend, future education or what have you. So,
Zach, I don't think, talk to Joe a little bit. If there's no problem, you make a phone call to the school system, and if there's a change that Poteni wants to put in his information going forward, I don't think anybody here is going to have a problem with adding that school if it is not in there and you want to add it.
I don't have a problem with adding Hillcrest to it if we are missing students.
If it is an issue,
in here.
but everybody here is for it.
Right.
Everybody signed it. If nobody has a problem with that, you make the phone call. Make some good faith effort to do it, and then have Joe put something together.
For sure, yeah. And
if it's on Facebook or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Joe and I talked about that too. We were going to wait to see depending how tonight went. We didn't foresee any road bumps or speed bumps or anything like that. So I can talk with Joe, and because he kind of wanted to know, what do we want to do. So what we'll do is I'll have him, it's okay with everybody, just include in, the names of these schools. Yeah. And then after reaching out to KOSD and, I'll reach out to Hillcrest administration too to see if, if they do have graduating seniors, sounds like they do, that we include Hillcrest. I can't imagine we include all the numbers and everything on a graphic because it'd be terrible to look at. So, but no, I see your concern and I thought of it. I even put a post on Facebook. I was like, hey, the school of Kenosha County, list it. These are the ones I know about. Hillcrest didn't make that list either. So I'm not doubting you. It just went over my head, and apparently KOSD's as well as superintendent's office.
And quite honestly, it didn't pop into my head till tonight.
Right. Yeah. I get it.
The resolution, you did a great job.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's very well done. I don't want to miss one school out of everyone in KUSD.
Yeah.
Right. No, I get it for sure.
Thank you.
Nobody has a problem with that. We'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody against? Nay? Carried. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Communications, 3, communication from Andy M. Bueller regarding future items scheduled before the Planning, Development, and Extension Education Committee.
Receive and file.
Claims, 4, Michelle Skinner, vehicle damage.
Refer to Corporation Council.
5, Arthur Niles, vehicle damage.
Refer to Corporation Council.
Approval of the May 19th, 2020 minutes by Supervisor Belsky.
We have a motion by Supervisor Belsky, second by Supervisor Rodriguez to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Any nay? Any against? Ayes have it. Thank you. Motion to adjourn by Supervisor Gully and Dave. Okay.
All those in favor?
Everybody vote on it. Are you ready to adjourn? Ayes have it.